Hello everyone, my name is Mark Preco, President and Founder of Atom Software, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Atom Software Updates Summer Release 2020. So everyone should have an outline in front of them. If not, in Atom, in your own Atom, go to the very top, the help link at the top, and click on that, and you should be able to download one of these outlines. So I'd say go along with me with this, jot down any notes related to your office. And then so hopefully it'll be very helpful for you. So to begin, I'm going to go ahead and we have miscellaneous. So we add help videos and field descriptions every time we do these updates to try to help you. So I definitely encourage you, when you're inside of Atom, you'll see a screen help. If you have any questions, click on that. If that doesn't help you, then obviously call our office. So next bullet, we have a new look. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and I'll start going into my Atom and show you what I'm talking about. So all the login pages, we now have a new look here to make it more visual pleasing, try to keep up with all the new changes that are available to us. So as I demonstrate all these changes, you'll see the new look as we go through here. So here's the login page. Now we talk about action, but I'm going to go ahead and log in real quick so I can show you the action buttons I'm talking about. So we changed the color. So they used to be the light gray, and then as you hovered over them, they turned dark blue. Now we thought it might look better to have the dark blue because they stand out better, easier for those of you like myself getting older, so it stands out easier. They're kind of more blocked as opposed to rounded. Just thought that was a better look. Next, I'm going to log back out here. We talk about the user portal. And the user portal, for those of you that don't know that is, what that is it allows your employees to log in from home, and you just give them access to their user information, not all your client lists. So if you guys used our login IP address restrictions that you set up in admin at the user level, that actually blocked them out, and we didn't even realize that, of both the normal login and the user login. Now, even if you put restrictions on their IP address so they can't log in from home, they still could log in into their user portal so they could see their work schedule, their appointments, and whatnot, but not your full client list. So that has been fixed. We'll log back in here real quick. Add pictures and logos to Atom emails. So now you should probably have your logo over here in the left-hand corner. A real quick way to add a logo is just to right-click, copy this image, and then you can paste it into any emails or portal messages that go out of Atom. So predefined messages, email templates. I'll show you what I mean. You're going to use the text editor. So I'm just going to go into real quick, compose a message to show you where this is a text editor right here. So it's pretty much every time you send an email or portal messages, you have this text editor. And we added a few new features to this that allows you to embed your logo or pictures. And to do that, you kind of just use this image button here. I'm not going to get into it. We do have help videos explaining how to do that. Next section we're going to go to on page 1 here is lobby management. So obviously we've always had a self check-in screen. Now we have a curbside self check-in screen. So with the challenges of COVID-19, in our office, we were having our clients check in from the parking lot, and we'd go gather their tax documents, and then the preparers would work on them, communicate with the client via cell phone, and then rush the tax return back out to the client while they actually sit in the parking lot. Now, not everybody did that, but quite a few did, and that was the fastest way to get the return done and the safest. So we now have a mobile check-in screen, and this is what that looks like. So it's similar to our current self-check-in screen that you do in the office. They enter their social still, but here now they're going to select, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it. Select which office they go to, reason for their visit, say a tax appointment, and then where did they park. And the reason I'm saying where do they park, because we have to go out and get the tax documents. So, and we have each parking spot numbered. So they hit continue. It's going to welcome them back. This is John Casey. You have an appointment with Dave at 11. Please wait in your car. We'll be right out. Thanks for using curbside check-in. So from now, we then get alerted in our office to rush out there so the client doesn't have to call us they can check in. So obviously you got to have some signage, just like you see everywhere, like Applebee's, wherever you go to pick up food, call us when you're here or whatever. So somehow you have to be alerted that the client is out there. But this was our solution to do that, and it actually worked very well. So we have the mobile check-in. It gets sent to the client when they make an appointment. Appointment reminder, we have that link in there so they can easily access it. We also have it on our mobile website where they can access it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this back over. Now in our office, I had some young kids, actually my daughters, and did some helping when we really got busy as we got close to the 15th. They tracked this lobby screen, and now we have it set that the lobby screen notes will show, what's the reason for their visit and then where they parked. There are some other notes in here too, but that's related to the actual appointment notes. And then this one, pending clients, is saying what their status was before. But the main, what they're looking at is right here is where they're parked. So they would rush out there, gather the information they needed, bring it to the preparer, and then the preparer would take it from there. So you have access now to that URL if you want to use it. We tested it. It worked. So that's a nice thing. I mean, all these things we started in February making these changes. So they've been very well tested. And we wouldn't release them to you if they weren't working. Lobby tracker, lobby information screen, the next section here. And this one was created before COVID-19 hit. So this was the traditional way of keeping track of your clients when they get checked in. They obviously come in, check in like normal. Then we had this screen up here that would track their place in line. Well, our receptionists, we found out that they like to see why the client's coming in. So now we have it shows the last status. So in this case, pending client. So now our receptionist would just be able to look at the big screen, or the preparers looked at it too and see, oh, looks like they're coming back here to bring more information so I can dig into their file before I go out there. So you have access to this. It's just on here. You just check the box if you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, you uncheck the box. So for those of you that are using that, again, not all these changes are applicable to everybody. That's why I strongly suggest you jot your notes down and highlight the ones that you want to come back to and maybe listen to this video again. So let me move this back over here. Okay, now we're going to move on to page 2. Client portal. Move this over here now. Here's my client portal. So again, you should notice this looks a little different. Hopefully more pleasing to your eye and your clients. So now they can log in. They've always been able to log in with their social. Now they can log in with their email if you want them to. So a lot of people don't like to give their email or their social out or enter it into the screen. So now they can use their email if they choose, or you actually can have best of both options. You can set up an admin where they could have either email or social. So I have it set up right now for this demonstration. They can use either one. So the first section here says login selection. I select ID, and from here, and I forgot to put, this should say social security number. So from here, they'd enter their social. If I wanted to hit email, it's going to say, enter your email. I'm going to go back to the ID. I'm going to check this person in, just like normal. And again, we've tested this. So we've been using this for several months, and clients have no issues with it. So your clients are no brighter than our clients. Or maybe they are. They probably are brighter than our clients. I'm sorry. It's the other way around. So you guys should have no problem with this. So from here, I'm inside the portal. The next one, I have disable invoices by business type. Come down here to my make payment link, and you can control what business type displays in here. So if you don't want all your invoices for all your business types display, you can control that in admin. Office event tracking. I know a lot of you guys did not use this. This is basically a way of telling the clients where they are in the process, like what status they're in. So prior to this change we made, if you wanted to use this, it would display whatever the office event status name is that you've named it. It displays here, so it may not make so much sense. Pending client, clients might get confused. What does that mean? Now you get to customize what it displays for the client. So here I've changed the name from office event tracking to what's the status of my tax return. So in this example, John Casey, as you recall, I just checked him in. So instead of saying lobby check-in, which is what it says on my homepage, I have it say, John, you successfully checked in. So I've changed the language so it makes sense to a client. I'm going to switch over to another year to show another status. So this status on my homepage is pending client, but to what John sees is we need additional information before we continue to prepare your return. So I'm anticipating a lot of drop-offs for our office again this year. We probably easily quadrupled, if not more than that. So we got slammed with drop-offs, which I know a lot of you guys do always. So this could be a helpful tool. Again, we're just trying to keep the communications between you and your client the best we can. So preventing them from actually contacting you. They can see it right here, then maybe they feel, a comfort level that, oh, I'm being taken care of. I know it's going to take so many days. And you can change the instructions up here too. So you can customize it to say whatever you want to say. If you want to say it normally is a 21-day turnaround, whatever. So at least the client is aware and they don't have to bother you by phone all the time. If I move it to complete, this is what our complete looks like. And again, you customize all this to say whatever you'd like it to say in your office. Switch it back here. Additional links. If any of you guys are using that, you can put links on your portal to direct them wherever you think your clients might want to go. So I've changed the name just to Checklist Newsletter. So now our additional links, if you recall, it used to show the description and then the URL. So now we just converted the description to be the URL. So now they just click on my description here and it'll pop up my URL link. In this case, it's just a newsletter. So that's all for the portal. And you can set the ordinal too. So you can set how you want these to display, what order you want them to display. All that in admin. Actually, it's not in admin. It's actually in additional links is where that shows up. Let's go back to I'm going to minimize this and get it off this page. And I'm back on my home page here. So freeze column headings. I'm going to go to drop off to demonstrate this. And so we have 31 in my drop off. And if I scroll down, now my column headings freeze. Now we did introduce this feature last year. It didn't work the way we intended it to. So we made some changes to it. So now you have more records that can display with the freeze column heading. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to use. At least it has been for us. And we did that throughout Adam. I'll be mentioning it as I go through this outline. New columns added. We added 2 new columns. So because drop-offs, that seems to be the wave right now. So we want to track how long does it take to do these drop-offs. So now we're displaying the account receive date. It shows right here. That's usually when the clients, come in the office or drop the information off. And then it's going to track the number of days from the account receive date. So you can see how long it's taking them to do it. Along with, obviously, it's going to track. You can track how many days it's been in the event, but this is the number of days it's been in your office. So that's what a lot of you guys want to know, which makes sense. Action buttons changed to links. If I come down here to the bottom. So we tried to clean up Adam too. So you'll notice a lot of these changes are basically cleaning things up, making it more user-friendly, hopefully, to your staff. So a lot of these were buttons or just records down here at the bottom. So now we created links. So now if you just click on, say, if I want to add a transaction, now it pops up a transaction box. I can add my fee payment. If I want to add an event, this used to be, so there's some of the people that use the move to feature to move an event. Now you're going to hit this add event. Okay, this will pop up. Works exactly the same. You're going to check the boxes you want to move. You just select where you want to move it to, but now you can actually add things to it. Whereas before, move to was just move to that status. Now I can move it to that status and also add a note, assign it, change things, disable notifications if I want. Let's close that. So it has more functionality than what we had before, but you're going to notice these links are throughout the software where they used to be buttons or drop-down menus. New override field. So my override, again, I have my override event fields. So now I've combined them all into one box as opposed to having them scattered all over here. We added the assign to, so now you can assign an event to specific users. So before you couldn't do that with an override. close it. We also have a little X here. You can close your boxes now, make it easier for you. Moving on to page 3, homepage event checklist. So if I go to my event checklist right here and set assignment based on default. Now you can, so I have one of my checklists over here is assigned to Melvin Gordon. So you can now assign to individual users based on their default work site. So if you had to assign something, this is all done in admin. So say if, for example, you wanted to, when somebody checks in, you wanted to assign to the receptionist. Well, you don't want the receptionist in South Cedar, my South Cedar office, to see the people that sign in at my West Saginaw location. So you can identify that in admin by site location if you use this checklist feature for that. Okay, now I'm going to go, I want to go back to my, homepage daily log. And I got some data on March 24th, so I'm going to go to March 24th to show you something I want to display. Okay, so we added 2 new columns. We have category, so I just have A client, B client, that you set that up. So that's going to display here. Account number displays, and my special condition alert will display also. So if that helps some of you guys out, some of you people asked for this. So we've added that to the columns. Completed log. And again, I'm going to go to March 24th. And on my completed log, again, I have the same category, account number, alert, just like before. But now we have days from account receive date. So now you can come in here, everyone who got completed, say today, or you can put whatever date range you want. And you can easily see, am I taking care of them timely? So in this case, this person was in and out in 3 days. This one's 39, 3, 3. And I can then investigate and see why did it take longer than whatever your expectancy is to get things out the door. Now you can easily see that. We didn't have that ability before. So that's a really good feature for people that do drop-offs. User overview under my assigned tasks. So now we have priority. So you can assign wherever you assign a task to somebody, you can give it a priority if you like. So low, high, medium, urgent. So if it's urgent, it's going to display with a brown background. Also, they're going to be prioritized sorting wise. Urgent's going to be at top, then high, medium, then low. And then you can also sort. So if I just want to look at all my mediums, I hit apply. And then it'll just filter based on that. So if you'd like to prioritize your assigned tasks, you can do that. Action buttons. We just move these buttons. Again, we tried to make all this more visually pleasing and easier, again, for your new staff and whatnot. So they've been moved to the left. Try to clean this page up more. Override fields. So now we have an override field here. It's a link as opposed to it being buttons all at the top, or drop downs over here at the top. Same stuff we have now. You can override priority too. So if you want to prioritize it yourself, you can do that so you can get things done. Freeze column headings, same as I don't have enough records here to display it, but this would freeze also, just like I displayed or demonstrated on the home page. Moving to page 4, office portal messages. I'm going to go back to my home page here, my office portal. So what we found out is, again, with COVID-19, so obviously it was a bad thing. It still is a bad thing, but it actually helped us make some improvements to our software that we didn't realize were needed. But what we got, when our main, we had an issue with our phone system. So our main form of communication was our homepage for our clients. They either sent us emails to add them, text messages to add them, prospect messages, or portal message. So they had four means of communicating with us. Okay, so even though the phones were not working, they definitely communicated us to these 4. So this was very busy. Okay, throughout that time when we had to be remote, which was about 2 months. So anyway, we had a lot of incoming messages, so we had to figure out a better way to organize that and manage it. So what we did is, that's exactly what we did. We came up with a better way to manage it. So if you look here, Office Portal, 35 new unassigned messages. So we decided if it's already been assigned to somebody, to one of our staff members, and I'm going to show you, you can actually automatically have it assigned to them, which that's actually was a huge feature. There's no reason that the other staff has to look at that, okay, because it's being taken care of. All right, I'm never going to lose it. I can always see, like, I have a total of 39 messages, but 35 are unassigned. That means these 35 need to be taken care of. All right, so I click on here, and we had this before. We've made changes to this table, and I don't even know if you guys are aware of this, but if not, we've now defaulted, because it works so well. The default is organized by client. So when you get your new release, you're going to see this table right off the bat. Okay, so it might look different, but it's, when you get a lot of messages incoming, I don't know how you can handle it with a huge long list. So now it's more manageable. So I can see Lori Carey here has 31 unassigned, 3 are assigned. These days, it's going to tell me how many days the oldest one is, so I can make sure that they're being taken care of, so your manager can still keep track of this and make sure somebody's taking care of them. I can then filter it. So right now the status here is all except completed. That was it. But I can go ahead and look at just my unassigned if I want. Look at my assigned. And of course I can always then check this box and see, here's my detail, go back. So this actually helped us a ton stay organized. So I wish we could have pushed this out to you sooner, but unfortunately we just weren't ready. But you'll be prepared for next season, or as we get closer to October 15th. So freeze column headings, obviously we have that. Move portal messages to its appropriate file. That's helpful. So if I click on John Casey here, actually I'm gonna check on Mike Tester here, because I'm gonna do this person. So this person comes in here, say, which is typical. You got the parent doing all the kids' returns. So when they're uploading all their stuff, they're probably not sending it to you in the kids' files, because that's more work for the client. They send it all to you in their file, and then you then have to then get it into the kids' upload. So now you can actually move these things. So I just check this box, move portal message, and I'm going to move it to a Jeff Sager. And I just do a search. Come down here, Jeff. I hit move, hit OK. And so now it's changed from Mike Tester to Jeff Sager. So now those portal messages, whatever was just sent, either uploads, email, messaging, whatever, it's all now in Jeff's file and not in this example I was talking about, the parent's file. So it's a really quick, easy way to move things. So you can do that with everything now. That was very helpful. Set assignment priority. Again, you can assign this stuff. So if I assign this to Mark, and I can, just like I was showing, so now I hit. Again, you don't have to. You can do exactly what you've been doing, but the ability to do this, if you want to manage your assigned tasks by priority, you can do that. Okay, moving now to the prospect portal. Again, every one of these are all just identifying the new unassigned messages, as opposed to if it's just a new message. If it's already been assigned automatically, I don't need to see it, whoever's managing this page. So I have my new unassigned messages, 3 new ones, pop here. As of right now, we're going to also have we will have the filter by client, organized by client on your new release, just like I just explained up there in the client portal. The freeze column headings, we already went over that. Move prospect messages, it works exactly the same way. I would just check a box here, and I can move this to wherever I'd like. So say if a prospect used a different email this time, but you know it's one of your current prospects already, you can then move it, like, so attach it to that, the correct one you've already had recorded. So that becomes very helpful. And again, the same thing, set your priority, just like I just explained up in the client portal message. Twilio messages on page 5, same thing. the unassigned, and then we got the table now to keep that track. During our busiest time, which was because we do bank products, for incoming messages was April 15th. And it wasn't because that's the typical filing deadline. It was because that was the day stimulus money was going out to bank product clients. And that was, anyone who does that knows that was a huge mess. Okay. And it was a lot of communication between us and our clients via texting mostly, because that's a typical bank product client. But we had over almost 600 incoming Twilio text messages. So that's not outgoing, that's incoming. Obviously, we probably had at least 600 outgoing. So we were very busy just managing that on our homepage. But anyway, so this was very helpful to have it manageable like this, as opposed to just having a huge list of text messages. And again, everything else is kind of the same. Set assignment priority. You can, again, the nice thing about this though, when I click on Johnny Tester, so say you guys are slowly switching over to Twilio texting, and those of you who have not, I strongly encourage it, because it's for the cost, it's pennies in the results you get out of it. Anyway, if you're still using, your clients are still sending you text messages to your phones because you can't convert them over right away, you now can forward those text messages to your Atom cell phone number and then move them to the appropriate file. So that's a way of getting them off your phone and getting them logged into your client file. So that's kind of huge, really, because you need to have that stuff documented, and you have to put it somewhere, and the phone is not the place to put it. Okay, email messages. So we introduced our email last year for the first time. I'll admit, one is because it was just introduced, so we didn't know what changes needed to take place until we actually went through a season. Well, we went through a season, so we made a lot of improvements to our email system, both incoming and outgoing. So we're using SendGrid, just like we use Twilio for texting. We use SendGrid, which is another third party, to offer the incoming emails. So now we've made it a lot more user-friendly. We had some issues with it, so we saw a lot of room for improvement, and we made those improvements. So again, we got the same grid table. You can just focus in on your assigned or unassigned, whatever you want to do. And again, the nice thing about this is you're still trying to train your clients. Don't send me the email to my Outlook. Send it to my Atom email. Well, you can't train them overnight. So you still got to get those Outlook emails to your Atom email so it can be logged into the file. So again, we have the move email feature. Very easy to do. Again, I just check the box. Say this came from my regular Outlook, and I forwarded it into my Atom. It's coming here. I'm going to put it in Jeff Sager's file again. And so now it's there. So it gets renamed. It was NA because it didn't know where to put it. Now it's Jeff Sager. So now it's stored in Jeff's email log. So that's the way of getting that stuff from your Outlook, your inbox in Outlook or wherever, Gmail, into where the client file is. If I go ahead and look at those that have used this feature, you saw, I mean, some of it didn't look as pretty as it could have. So now we've made a lot of changes to it, so it looks a lot more visually pleasing and easier to read. If you reply to it, everything, it makes it easier. I must not have an email set up for that person. Let me close this back out. But we made a lot of changes to the email. So if you're not using it, again, it's another form of keeping in touch with your clients and making it easy and manageable and putting everything in one place. And it definitely helped us out this year using email. The one nice thing is if you're prospecting at all, so you have them set up so they send you the message from your website using Atom's prospect portal. It comes in, you reply back. Before, they never could reply back to that because we didn't have any incoming email. Now we have incoming email, so now you can communicate back and forth with your prospects really easy, trying to win them over as a client, and it's all stored in their file. That's one nice thing. So, and again, you can set a priority on there. So let me move to page 6 now. Now we're going to go to the search tab. And I'm going to just search for a new client here, James Sparty. If I hit add new contacts, now I can go ahead and I can identify, is this a business client or is this an individual? So is it a 1040 or is it a 1065? And then when I hit add new contact, it'll automatically set up the correct fields properly. I didn't have that in the pop-up box before. This makes it a little quicker for you. Appointments. I go to my appointments tab. So from here, I got a new client here, James Sparty here. I'm going to click on his name. When you enter this, I'm going to minimize this. As you know, most of you guys have to enter the last four of your social, especially if you're using the self check-in screen. So this field right here wasn't visible under the minima when you minimize the box. So now it's a lot easier, and it's just easier to enter a new client's appointment information because now it displays right here as opposed to being hidden. Display notes by hovering over the client. So if I hover over them now, it's going to display the appointment note. So I quoted 200, also doing friends return, and and also the special appointment condition. So, and this can't climb stairs, need to go. So you can now hover right over the top of the appointments and kind of get information about that appointment without having to click and dig in. So it makes it easier. Send batch notifications. So right here, we have send batch notifications. If I click on this, so I can send an email, text, or both to all my appointments at one time. So for example, say if you're closing early due to a snowstorm because we're in Michigan, you need to let all your clients know. So before, because that happened, okay, so usually all these changes are happening because something happened to us and we saw there was a flaw in Adam and we needed to make it better. So now we had to go in individually. Before we had to go in individually and send them it was kind of a pain. Okay, now you can go ahead and blast everyone at one time and just say, in the case of snowstorm, we're closing early today, and you can pick which ones you want. You see the appointment time, so you know when they're coming in. You can filter based on that. Close it. I can also do, say I just want to do it for a specific employee's. Let me go to Dave Murray here. I'm just looking at Dave Murray's, and so maybe he's sick today. I just want to send some message out to all of Dave's clients, letting them know, sorry, we're going to have to reschedule you. I can do that very easy. I can filter based on that. Just a quick way of communicating with your clients. Work schedule. Okay, that was the same thing. Sometimes you got to get a message out to your staff quickly, so I can do it, all of them, all at one time with my batch notification. So here's everybody here. And again, I can see, I didn't mention this on the other screen, but I can see the ones I have valid emails or cell phones for. So maybe if I don't have an email or cell phone, I know I have to actually somehow, I don't know how I'd get in contact with them if I didn't have a cell phone, but maybe they have a landline or something I can dig in their file and call. But I can see all that. So if you got to communicate to a specific person, or maybe somebody, or again, a snowstorm or closing early before somebody comes in, you can do this from here and see when they're coming in. Here's their work schedule. So I can blast it. Just an easier way to communicate with your employees. And again, I can do the same thing with my availability, employee availability. I got the send batch notifications, same thing, same type of thing. Okay, moving on to page 7. Contact information. I'm going to go into John's file here. So we made some changes inside the file. So right here I have, in the contact information, I have what's called default cell phone. And what I mean by that is this is strictly tied to if you're using Twilio for texting. So a lot of my clients, I do the parents return, I do the kids return, and the kids are younger. They don't want me contacting the kids. They're maybe 16, 17 years old, whatever. They want them to be the main contact. So I have the parent cell phone number. So what happens is then when that parent sends me a text, it ends up going to the kids return because that was the last cell phone number entered. So I got it in the wrong place. So granted, now I can move it, but instead of that, if I want all communication or something to go to the parent's return, if I check this box, that means it's going to default. All communication will default to this cell phone number if there's the same cell phone number throughout Adam. Again, it's only for Twilio texting. Next bullet, assign all client incoming communication to a specific user. As we mentioned on the home page under the user overview, we're only looking at unassigned messages. This is how we can default. So if I'm John, if I did John Casey's return and I want all communication from John to be assigned to me, if they're sending portal messages, Twilios, emails, prospects, whatever, all I have to do is come down here, select my name, save. Now it'll automatically go to my assigned tasks, and so that whoever's managing my homepage on the user overview won't have to see. I mean, they can see if they want to, but it'll be already assigned to me. So this was a huge time saver, because what we end up having to do is what we were doing is I'd have one person or two when we were very busy. They'd go through and they'd have to figure out, oh, who's this supposed to be go to? Who is this supposed to be assigned to, Mark or Jason? Now I don't have to worry about it. The preparer can default it to them, and so it bypasses and it saved us a lot of time. Action buttons changed to links. So down here, you'll see this is all cleaned up. These used to be buttons all the way across here. Now my referrals is a link. Permanent documents, it goes right to the page. So if it's not doing any kind of action, it's now a link. Message alerts. We had issues while we're working on a tax return. The client sends us a text at the same time and we weren't aware of it. So now we get alerted when we have any open messages with this client. So if I'm in the client file right here and I have these red little alerts, I click on here, that means there's an open, in this case, portal message in here. So I could take care of it before I'm done with the client file. So that's helpful. And now I'm in the client portal message log and I have client notifications. So when you composed a message and you send a message to your client, I don't know if you're aware of this at all, but they got an email alert telling them that you just sent a message to them and they need to log in and read the portal message. They never got a Twilio text from that. And that, as we know, text is more effective than email. So now it's automatic. If you have Twilio, they will get a Twilio text along with the email alerting them to go to the portal to read the message. Now you can also assign or unassign myself to all communications. So if I compose a message on the fly right here, it says assign myself to this client's communication. So as you know, I just put my name on there. I can unassign that too and send a message. So if I'm done, I don't need to be alerted every time this guy sends me a message. I'm done with their file. I can uncheck it here, or I can go in the client file and do that. Replied messages. Let me hit back. So if I disable email text notifications, so say I'm going to reply to this one. Hit reply. So right here, again, you're going to see I can assign myself to this client's communication. I have that built in throughout. For some reason, say you don't want them to get a notification that you're replying to them. I don't know, maybe they're already in your portal. You're going back and forth, back and forth. You don't want to bombard them with a text and an email all the time. Just like when you upload a tax return to them, maybe you're uploading multiple tax returns. You don't need them to get an email and a text every time. Now you can control that. It's going to default that they're going to get an email and a text notifying them that you just are sending them a message, but you can always shut that off too on the fly. Move portal messages. Back here. Just like I explained before, I can move a portal message from in here. So say if it's a portal message related to the kid, maybe I want to move it to the kids file, I can do that inside here. Assign portal messages. If I'm in here reading the message, I'm like, oh, I need more help, we need a senior preparer, I can go ahead and assign that to a specific person from in here. And again, I can prioritize it if I want to show up in their my assigned task. Go back to the file. Next section here, we got the prospect message log. Inside here, again, I just had the move prospect message feature. Now I'm going to go to my Twilio messages. Again, I have the move to feature. Move to. Now what I had to do is it's only going to move my incoming ones. It's assuming if I sent it from here, then it was probably correct. So I would check the box here. Then I hit move Twilio. Works just like we've been talking about. Assign and unassign. Again, this is assigned to me because I did it on my homepage. I can unassign it if I send a new message, and it won't be when they reply, it will not be assigned to me if I'd like. We also added a refresh button. So during when we were remote and we couldn't go in our office, again, our phones were not effective for us. So we were relying a lot on Twilio. So we were communicating back and forth with our clients like instantly, like within seconds. Okay. So before, what we had to do is had to go back out of the file, come back in, see if it's now I can actually refresh right from here. So if I'm communicating that fast, just like you are with your friends on your phone, and they're coming in fast, I don't want to leave this page. I just hit refresh. It'll automatically see if I got a new message or not without having to go back and forth. We didn't have that feature before. Email message log, kind of the same thing. Again, I said it's user friendly. So if I were to look at a page, I mean, it just looks nicer. I can reply. It's just easier to use the email than it was before. I can assign to myself if I compose a new email. Again, I just assign it here. Any incoming emails will be assigned to me. I can uncheck that if I want. And from here, I just go ahead and send my message. So I'll just like before. Same way with moving. Now, the difference with email, this is actually this part right here. If I check this box, move to, this part is only moving to my link clients. But then inside here, I can actually move it to anybody. So we built the link client move before we actually built the other move feature. That's why both of them are there. Moving to page 8, we're getting there. Hang on there. Account information. Scrolling down to my account information, add account year. If I just go ahead and add account year, now I can switch the site. So if they're going to be in a different office, I can switch it. I couldn't do that before. Just makes it easier. Add account uploads. Okay, this one's, you want to pay attention to this. So if I add an upload now from my home page, you're going to click on this box or this button. This box is going to pop up. Again, these pop-up boxes are designed to make it, I'm hoping, more user-friendly, especially for your new people and your returning people too. There's more functionality involved in it, and I'm hoping it's going to be more user-friendly. So far for our office, it has been. We haven't had any issues with it. And again, our office is no different than your office. So I'm going to close it here. It works pretty much the same way as they did before. Prevent account from rolling over to next year. So now we added this right here, final year. So if this person's deceased and you don't need, for those that are using their admin rollover feature where you roll all over your clients at one time, if you don't want them to roll over, you just check the box final year. They will not be included in the rollover. So maybe if it's a final 1065 1120S, you would check that. It will not be rolled over automatically. Client billable time page. From here to demonstrate this, I'm going to switch over to Family Barbershop, which is linked to John. I'm going to go into the billable time. So those people that are using Atom for billable time, we had some requests for these changes. So right now, when you go on that page, it always defaults to the current week. You can now change that. So I'm going to switch it to July 19th. And I hit apply, which I always could do, but then the date range would always default right back to the current week. Now it's going to stay whatever range you put in there, it will stay forever. Even if you log out and come back in, it's still there, and it's at the user level. So you're going to control the date range from now on. All right. Track billed and non-billed hours. So a lot of you requested you want to track what's been billed and what's not. Now, if you're using Atom's billing and you're pushing it into the transaction section, then of course you just use this, check these boxes here. Say I want to move this to my, I'll say payroll. I'm going to call it payroll, whatever. And I just create individual transactions. Of course, you should be familiar with this. Now we add this new column, build. So now that I know I've billed them, now granted, they're just pushed in the transaction section, so I'm not actually billing yet, but we're assuming you're going to build because you moved it down there. So now if I go into here, into my 2020 payroll tax for Family Barbershop, you're going to see those right here. Okay. Let's just say I'm like, you know what? I billed $750. I want to bill $1,000 for this client. Okay. All right. So I don't think $750 is enough. I'm going to bill, even though my billable time says $750, I'm going to bill them $1,000. Okay. So I go ahead and make that change. You now can run a report, which a lot of you requested, and you can track what's over and under. So if you push it into my transactions, into Adam's transactions, you can now run a report and see what was, the billable amount, then what did you do with the transactions, and how much is over and under. And that's both for hours and for the amounts. Okay, so that should be helpful for you guys that are using this feature. Now, let me go back to my billable time. So if you're not pushing and using Adam for, your transactions, and obviously you can't run that report. But let me just delete these real quick. Say you're using QuickBooks or something for your billing, but you still want to track when you bill it. So you still can go ahead and check these boxes, build, and hit update build. And so it's going to track that you did bill it, but you didn't obviously push it into our Adam's transactions because you don't see it here, but you were using another system to track it. But now you can see which records have been billed and which ones haven't, and now you can filter too. So if I want to say I want to see all my billed, I click on that. If I want to see what I haven't billed yet, I click on this. I'm sorry, I went the other way around. What I haven't billed yet would be here, no, and again, I can pick whatever date range I want. So I think that's going to be pretty helpful for you guys that are using Adam to track your billable time with the punch clock. Office event, add events. Let me go back to my file here. So to add an event, you still can use a traditional way of if you're moving it, changing it from one event to another, just like you always have. Let me switch back to John Casey here. Okay, now you also can do add event. I'm going to minimize my statuses. I hit add event here. I have a button now. Again, I think this is going to be more user-friendly, and it allows more functionality. So now I can actually select an event, and I can enter a note and assign it all at the same time, whereas before, if I come up here, select it, then I got to come down here, hit the edit pencil, then I enter everything. Here I can do everything at one time. So this should be helpful, also be helpful for our bookkeeping people with the events, because in their case, they're not closing one out. So I'm going to shut this down. So some of these are going to be, takes maybe a day to get used to, but again, we've introduced it to our staff, where we brought people back, and they have not struggled at all. And you still have the traditional way of doing it too, so we didn't wipe this out completely because we know it is a pretty decent change, so we didn't want to just force you to do it. You can do both ways. Action buttons, we've aligned things to the left, just make it easier for you guys. Change to links. So we have the links now. So we have move events, override fields. So we've combined all our override fields into one pop-up box. This makes it a lot cleaner looking. You can also now assign your overrides here. You couldn't do that before. Okay, let me move over to page 9. Close this down. Keep assigned after end date. Again, we're still in the office events. So for those people that were using this feature, keep assigned. Okay, it was over here. I believe it was under this assigned due date, and it was called keep assignment after end date. Now we've shortened it to keep assigned. It's in this, works the same way. If I assign it to myself, and basically what this, for those of don't know what this does, is it still keeps it assigned to an individual user even when there's an end date. So basically when this task is closed. So I'm just going to go ahead and save it. Now it's also going to highlight it in red, so it's very easy for the user to see. So in case they want to get it out of their assigned tasks, to do that, you come in here and uncheck the box. Okay, checklists. We have set a prime. This is the exact same thing. I don't think I have any here in my checklist for lobby. Oh, maybe I do. So I have some checklist items in here. So if I was assigned to, I can set the priority. Okay, just like we can throughout the software. Transaction information. Add transactions. So from here, this one we did completely switch it over. So there's no more of a drop down to add a transaction. Now you just click on add transaction. And from here, you're going to select what it is. Just like always, it's just, I think visually it's definitely more pleasing looking, but I think it's going to be a lot easier for your staff and definitely your new hires to train them just using this pop-up box, because it kind of tells them what they need to do. They can do their invoice here. So again, it's a lot more functionality you can do. Say if you want to record multiple, say I'm going to go ahead and record check. Again, I'm going to enter my note right here, and I hit add additional transactions. So my box is going to remain. So as opposed to me having to hit the button again, and then from here I can go ahead and record another fee, 175, and then I hit save and close, and then it closes it completely. Okay, so it's just going to be more user friendly for your staff. All right. Let me see. Action buttons, alert. Oh, recursive link. Okay, let me show you this one. So we have your where am I down here? Recursive notifications. So we've this is if you want an invoice to continually go out to the client. Say if I check this, say every 5 days, 5 messages, and I save it. So you'll have a little alert message here, which just indicates that you have the recursive notification set up and it's turned on. Credit card processing. If you're using Adam to do your credit card processing, we've now added the billing address and zip code, which should help you get a lower rate. Okay, and as long as you're using authorized.net or your EPS Financial, that should automatically have a lower rate for you. So the data is there. It's going to automatically pull in from your contact information. So if you need to change that, if that's not correct, change it here, then hit send payment. Task notes information. Again, we have a button now cleaning this all up. So you just hit add task. Then you're going to go ahead and add your task. So say it's a phone message. I do my predefined notes. And again, I can assign it to somebody right now if I'd like to. And then I hit save and close. Again, you have more functionality to do at one time as opposed to before. And again, you can assign the priority if you want. Action buttons aligned to the left, and you got your override fields again is now links. Same thing we always had before, they're just links, keeping it clean. Page 10, we're almost there. Quick link menu bar. Now we have the account upload. So before it used to take you to a certain section, now it's got the button pops up, and so from here you can go ahead and upload your document just like you normally would. And you can do that from anywhere inside the client file. Admin, let's get to admin. Again, we have the freeze column headings, just like I talked about before. You can do that anywhere. Color coding, we now have unlimited colors you can use for your color coding of your business types as opposed to being restricted to like 8. Clean upload documents. So this one right here, which can be used for several things. One is you can locate uploaded documents by client. Also would tell you what your upload size, so how many megabytes or you have of uploads inside of Atom that you're using for storage. So it took a while to actually load this page because it was retrieving that information. Now to retrieve it, you just click on this link, and then it's going to take a while to pull and give you how much storage you're actually using on our servers. But now it's a link as opposed to automatically doing it just when you click on the page. Event status. Switch over to business type tax prep. This one I think you're going to like. It's going to make things a lot easier for you. So, tax prep. So one is we've added 25 more miscellaneous events. So if you ran out of office events, we got more of them now. 2 is now our system events. This is going to filter based on only the ones that are available. So as you use them, they're not going to display anymore. So before, as you know, it's kind of a pain. You record one, like, oh, it's already being used, it's being used. Now it's only going to display the ones that are available for you. Column view permissions. This is just to make things easier for you. Now we just moved the visible. If you're, this is to identify which columns you want to show up on the home page. Now it's really easy to check the box. You can see what it is. It was way over on the right-hand side. So it's kind of a long way to visually see that. User page. Again, you can, if you use Adam's email with SendGrid, you can send emails to your employees the same way. And again, we just made this more user-friendly. So it just make it more look and work like a regular email as opposed to before. Okay, task notes information section. Again, you just can set the priority right here. And again, that shows up in the person's My Assigned Tasks. Page 11. Now we're on to reports. And the mailer's client export. We just added 2 more columns or data fields. So special condition note. So that's, telling, what the appointment notification, however you're using that special condition note in the contact information, that note will display. Default all communications. So if you're, again, using Adam and you want all the incoming messages to be defaulted to specific users, you can run this report, say at the end of the year, and maybe you want to clean that up and say, okay, say Mark did that person's return, so he defaulted all incoming communications, but he might not be doing that person's return next year. So if the client just schedules an appointment or something at the beginning of the year, do I need to have that assigned to me? No. So I might use this as a cleanup to go back and kind of remove those if I don't want them to default to me. 2 new reports in the management section, link client export. I can see which clients are linked to whomever, whichever clients, and whether they have access on the portal for their link clients. It's an XML report export. And then, of course, we already talked about this one, the management, the billable PC punch clock. So if you're doing overrides in the transaction section for your billable time or hours or dollar amounts, you can now see that variance on this report. So that was a little lengthy. We did a lot of changes. A lot of them were related to the COVID-19 to make things more manageable for incoming communications with your clients. We're going to continue to do that. I'm not going to tell you what the new change is coming, just in case it doesn't actually come. But if it does, it's going to be huge, okay? And it's going to help with the communication, again, with your clients. So we'll keep you abreast to that. This is just our summer release. Again, we're expecting, obviously, we're going to do a fall release, and then we'll see how much time we have to do all your changes. But I appreciate all your support with Adam. I know this was one of the roughest years we've had. I'm sure it was for you too. I hope Adam helped you make things better than they would have been had you not had Adam. And enjoy the rest of the summer. Thank you.